I don't think you take the emotion out of it. I think that's something that you have to keep them in check when you play, but I think that's something that helps fuel and what makes a rivalry good. And I hope our guys come fired up. The way the practices started this Monday and Tuesday, I think they've shown that they're excited, and but again, within a rivalry game, it's also about keeping composure, and so you got to play smart, you got to execute, but having a little fire in the belly is a good thing.
What do you see when you look at the Louisville offense on tape?
Really efficient. They understand who they are. They run the ball really well. The two backs are really, really talented, and really the third, even four when he comes in. The quarterback's playing at a high level. You see a comfort level. You see, as the season's gone along, he's, you could see sort of a development and an ease into his game. He sort of lets it come to him right now. I think the receivers are smooth. They do a nice job catching the ball, sort of away from their bodies, clean in and out of their breaks, nice routes. O-line works really well together, so that's why they've been successful.
Are they similar to anybody you've seen so far, style-wise?
Yeah, stylistically, we've faced some outside zone teams, shot teams, Missouri, a little bit of Florida. Those kind of teams, have some similarities in that regard. But they're their own system.
Brad, is everything that they want to do you feel like it kind of starts with that run game and all the play action and all the looks kind of comes off of that?
Yeah, the run game, the RPOs, that's sort of where it stems. But again, I think the receivers do a really nice job. Not just I talked about the route running, but then obviously the speed and the pace at which they play, and the ability to take the top off when they need to. And then they do a great job sitting down in their routes, making you think they're about to take the top off, and then boom, they can hit a comeback, and all of a sudden it's a quick 10, 11, 12-yard gain. But yes, I think it starts with the run game and then progresses through their pass game, but both are equally efficient.
So for your defensive backs, what do you think the key is to that? Because you almost got to be ready for anything.
Yeah, I mean, that's what they have to do. They have to try to, they have to play with clean eyes, and I don't think, we did at times on Saturday, but I didn't think our eyes were where they needed to be all the time, in this kind of game. And, we already talked about the emotion that you have to play smart. You have to keep telling yourself over and over, read my keys, put my eyes where they need to be. Where is my leverage? Where's my help? And, too often this year, we've cut off our help, in the back end. And, we've got helpers for guys, but if you don't play to that leverage, you're doing yourself a disservice.
Brad, there was a stretch in last week's game that the defense looked to be executing as well as it had in a while, particularly into the second half when they were punting a lot. Are there things from the film that you could take and point to and say, "Got to see this is how it works when you're doing things"?
Yeah, obviously, when things are going well, it's easy to point and say, "Hey, look, it's going well." When things are going bad, it's easy to point out the mistakes. It's interesting. Even when things are going well, obviously there's mistakes, but individuals or a group of individuals can cover it up. Whether it's a pressure and a big sack, that covers up maybe some looseness in the coverage, or a tight coverage makes up for a less than perfect stunt game, but it buys time for a guy to recover up front, and then he forces an incomplete pass, whatever the case may be. So it's those game of inches. I mean, even on that first drive, we had two opportunities to get the quarterback, on that. Essentially the first third and long was a leverage issue. The second third and long, we're walking into a sack, and a guy just gets pushed by, another guy doesn't. redirect off a internal tongue. Like we should be in great shape. They should be punting, but it doesn't happen. And so it's those are the things you try to instill in the guys that, hey, every little bit matters, and every part of the play matters. We talk about, hey, you don't know which play it is that's going to make the difference. But within that entire play, like you could execute it 80% correct, but if you don't finish, it's the last 20%, the last 5%. If you don't finish the play, then it can get out on you. And those are the plays this year that have gotten out on us, and those are the frustrating ones. But you got to learn from it, you grow from it, you keep trying to teach and point it out, and hopefully it shows on Saturday.
When you evaluate the pass rush, have the shortcomings been more not finishing those plays or just not winning one-on-ones to even get the pressure to begin with in those situations?
Obviously it's a little bit of both, but obviously it stems from winning one-on-ones. I mean, and that's where we have to be better. And in a one-game season, you hope to be better just this week, and then we can address that issue going forward. But we have to be better this week.
You played college ball with Chris Barclay.
I did, yeah.
What was he like, and what's it kind of like being on the opposite sidelines in a game such as this?
Yeah, it's he was a great player, and it'll be fun to go against him. A really good human being. Obviously, he was a phenomenal player. Over 4,000 yards, and I think over 40 touchdowns, and but the thing that you love most, and when you look back and you have those relationships, is the family that he has, and the wife and the kids, and so we always say all our we call them Deke Bros, that we were all Demon Deacons together, and we've been spread out across the country, and a lot have gotten into the coaching profession off those teams under Jim Grobe. So really excited to see him, before the game, and hopefully after the game with a smile on my face.
Anyone else? If not, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Know your role.
Yep.
Everybody ready? Everybody good? All right, questions for Coach?
Everybody talks about Jeff Brom and the offense, but it looks like Louisville's been really good defensively. What do you see when you look at them on the film?
Very disciplined. Very disciplined defense, well coached. I mean, these guys, you can see they had a little bit of a shift from when they were at Purdue to the first few games to a couple games in. They started to shift and do a little bit more up front in terms of moving parts, and they do a very nice job disguising some coverages. They mix in their 3 deeps and cover ones. They'll pop a cover 2 on you every now and again on normal down to distance. They do a good job with some stems from 4 down to 3 down to 3 down to 4 down. They do a nice job, and they're playing collectively. You see a unit run to the football. They get out of the stack incredibly well on screens. When the quarterback breaks contain, you can see them do a great job of straining. It's a unit that you can really tell is playing together and playing as one. A lot of respect for that defensive unit.
They love to bring all kinds of pressure. They love to put DBs and tight coverage and stuff like that and bring heat. How have you guys handled that kind of a defense so far?
Well, I think you'd probably say inconsistently. It's just one of those things where if we can get off press and we can do a great job with hand-to-hand combat, making contested catches, protecting the quarterback, good things should happen. Because they will challenge you on the perimeter. They'll challenge you. They are not afraid to get in your face and play press man coverage, as you mentioned. They'll bring safeties on pressures, corners on pressures. They'll bring 5-man rush from a jam front structure. And the rusher number 9, defensive end's a heck of a football player. They play with a motor. To say we've been great against those defenses, I can't really say, because it's probably been inconsistent versus most defenses. But I do think it's a great opportunity for our guys to play in a rivalry game against an opponent that's a top 10 defense or a top 10 team in the country, as well as a top 20 defense overall in the country. It's a great challenge for our guys to come in and get on the road and win again, hopefully.
How do you use the emotions of a rivalry game without letting it turn into penalties or something
Yeah.
like that?
I would hope at this point that it would be more than that. I would hope. You go into a game like this where Kentucky's been on the winning side of things, but we aren't, I guess you could say, as good as them this year. We have to prove it, but they also have to beat us as well, right? It's one of those things where it's a rivalry game. Both teams feel like they have a little bit of an upper hand. They're better than us statistically or in the rankings. We've had more wins in the cup. So it's one of those things. I think there's probably a mutual respect for where both teams are at because of us winning the majority of the games recently, but them having a better record in ranking. So I would hope that it wouldn't become one of those kind of games. We need to go in there and focus on us and compete. But also, we need to go in there with our hair on fire and have the right mentality and the right attitude of going in on the road again to go play a very quality opponent.
Liam, obviously you've got to do what you can to score points and win this week, but we're also getting to that kind of season-long evaluation, portal season coming up. What one or two things with the offense this year surprised you that you have to get addressed over the next month or whatever?
I think a leadership standpoint, we need very consistent leadership in terms of the day-to-day process, whether that be from us as coaches, but at some point it really has to come from the players to take it over and to be the guys that are holding each other accountable. Man, if we have an MA in practice, well, it shouldn't be us as coaches always having to reload the play or holler about the issue. At some point, you want good teams, and good teams are typically player-led. And we would love for that to occur and for somebody to really emerge to take this thing over and to truly fix the issues, right? A lot of the issues that, hey, you correct a mistake, but ultimately it takes accountability and it takes guys looking each other in the eyes to make it right. And so that's one thing, and I think that we need to get bigger, faster, and stronger. We need to get bigger, faster, stronger as a unit. At the skill positions, we need to continue to grow and develop. We need to get more physically dominant up front and continue to grow and get back to that mentality that we can wear you out. And that's got to be who we are, right? We're not going to sit here and chuck it around 50 times a game. And we also have to look at, as a staff, how can we play faster? How can we maybe take this offense, mold it more into a no-huddle system, get more plays, play faster, play with more tempo, do what we're ultimately trying to get done, schematically, but also how do we change it up to play with more tempo, spread things out a little bit more, get your athletes in space while still trying to be physical in the run game.
Liam, the way you described Louisville's defense sounds like there will be some shots to be taken down the field. Those haven't really connected all season.
No.
What has to happen for like Devin and Arion or anyone else to get on the same page with that?
I think when you run a post or a go, you have to win on that route before you get your head and eyes up and really track the football. And I also think from a quarterback standpoint, a launch doesn't, a post doesn't have to be a launch shot, right? It doesn't have to be a 60-yard pass. It can be a 50-yarder or a 42-yarder, and the ball doesn't have to be launched down the field in order for us to complete a post or a go or something like that. And you just don't get that all the time in practice, right? You don't get a look where a defender is right on the player on a post route right here where you have to make a perfect throw. Well, because our receiver beats our scout team defensive back by 10 yards. So sometimes it's just unrealistic that what you get in practice doesn't translate to the game because the look might not be the same. And when it comes to that, it comes down to players making a play, making a throw, making a catch, and making a play. I mean, you look at the explosive reel around the country every week. We look at it every single week. And a lot of it is just guys going up and making a play. And, making a throw, making a catch, making a run. Like Ray Davis last week, making a spin move, breaking a tackle. I mean, that's football. That's football, and we need more of that.
Liam, as you look back on since you went up to the booth, has that gone like you hoped it would be over the course?
I guess I haven't truly evaluated it as much. I think it's been, I guess, unsuccessful, because we haven't been as successful. But I do think for our group, the group that we have right now, it's still the best thing. It's just, I think that when you're away from them and they can maybe not see you, whether it's good or bad, and feed off you, I think sometimes that's the best thing. And for this group, I still do think it's the best thing. Whether that's going to be the same way next year or not, I can't say. That's something Coach and I will talk about, especially if we do try to get more up-tempo and play faster. I could see myself coming down for sure.
You have a game left for the bowl game, but you talked about the inconsistencies. Do you sense among the guys that, hey, this is it, this is our chance to show we're better than what we've shown?
Yeah, I think we've practiced really well, as hard as that is to probably hear from your guys' standpoint. Our kids have not wavered. They have not sat there and not practiced hard or not gone hard. We get a lot of reps in practice. Like, we don't just walk through at this point in the season. We've tried to take it back a little bit, but we've still gone hard and we still practice hard. And our kids have not shied away from that. And so I've been really proud of that. It has not always shown consistently on Saturdays, and that's the unfortunate part. That's the part that you would love for it to come to life more consistently, especially in a game like last weekend where we had an opportunity to choke them out, and we weren't able to do it.
Liam, Isaiah played really well for you last time you were here.
Yeah.
Kind of emerged in this last game. What's he doing to stay sharp?
Isaiah's just a great kid, man. He's always been. He's just sometimes, when you run 55, 60 plays max in a game and you're living in 11 and 12 and 21 pony, 21 personnel, and you've got Dingle, you've got Bates, you've got Caddis, you've got different guys, and sometimes roles get lost, and Zaya's never wavered. Another kid that has just done his job consistently and just wants to help the team win. And got an opportunity last week. We were really trying to make that opportunity come to life last week. He did a great job on third down for us. He did a great job in the run game for us. And I think that role will continue to expand through this weekend as we go into the bowl game.
All right, folks, thank you very much.